Welcome back. I know there are a million outlets out there begging for your attention, so I do appreciate those of you who take a few moments out of your day to listen. If you have a topic that you would like me to expand upon or to rabbit hole on, feel free to leave a comment down below. Today, we will be taking a close look at historical unrest prior to elections. Clashes have been much more common since the turn of the century. Going back as far as the 1896 election, when Republican William McKinley was running against Democratic candidate William Jennings Bryan, the election was in the wake of an economic depression that some say ran from 1876 until 1896 and is often referred to as the Long Depression. Among possibly one of the most turbulent pre-election unrest in our recent history was during the 1968 campaign, as this was in the midst of a volatile time for our country as a whole. In April of 1968, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And couple that with nationwide protests against the Vietnam War, it was certainly a tumultuous time. Richard Nixon used these events and this unrest and built a campaign for a need to return to law and order. In 1992, the acquittal of the police officers involved in the Rodney King incident triggered widespread outrage and rioting in Los Angeles. Bill Clinton was able to use this unrest to portray George Bush Sr. as out of touch and unable to lead in times of turmoil. Then, in 2004, when the Republicans held the RNC in New York City, New York Civil Liberties Union noted in a review of the convention that there were about 1,500 arrests, which led to criminal proceedings, most of which were dismissed and ended up in acquittals. This type of unrest is usually hallmarked in emerging democracies. As a whole, such unrest occur when the long-standing trust in civil institutions begin to fray, and when people no longer see civil institutions as a way to resolve our conflicts peacefully. Political uncertainty and the collapse of cooperation across party lines act as a powder keg waiting to explode. Candidates on both sides will certainly exploit the tensions to differentiate themselves and offer contrasting solutions as to what should be done. In 2020, we find ourselves in yet another moment of unrest. The coronavirus pandemic has people on edge. The United States economy and uncertainty in the job market looms overhead. Couple that with the demonstrations against the uses of force by police officers and the looming division that always seems to precede an election cycle. Is this democracy on a death spiral? Are we falling into a cycle of outrage and reaction that blocks the reasoned conversations that we need to have? Divisive lines are emboldened in times of uncertainty. 2020 is certainly no slouch. With racial tensions high and distrust in civil institutions mounting, and adding fuel to the fire is the bombardment of social media. The digital age now festers anger and misunderstanding, exacerbated by trolls and covertly funded political advertisement, all in which spills over into real life. It was Abraham Lincoln that said in a speech given in 1858 before he was president that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Lincoln, of course, was talking about slavery and the coming war between the North and South, but his words still ring true today in the modern era. In a world deluged by irrelevant information, clarity is power, and anybody can join in on the debate to add to the noise. Will we be able to step back and gain a clear vision before it is too late? I firmly believe that politicians want us to react emotionally, to react and vote afraid. It will not be us, the people, who benefit from this. The greatest crimes in history resulted not just from hatred and greed, but from ignorance and indifference. As we can see from history, and examples as I laid out and others that I've glossed over, pre-election turmoil is nothing new. This isn't the first time, and it certainly will not be the last. I simply hope that we can take a tactical pause to see what is really going on and to make the right decisions moving forward. So till next time, be a good human and be the example of the change that you wish to see in the world.